What is going on, you guys? Zach here from PremiumBeat.com. Today we're going to be talking about drone shots. Do you need them for your production, or are they just overused? So we got a chance to play around with the DJI Spark. And if you don't know what the DJI Spark, it's like their new product. It's like this tiny drone that fits into the palm of your hand, and it is super awesome and cool. We flew it around. The coolest things about it was like its facial recognition, and like I'm so inspired by drones, and they're making them a lot more accessible and usable. And 10 years ago, drones used to be like these expensive tools, and now you can fit them in your pocket. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. One of the things that was ridiculous is that my buddy Carl was operating the drone, and then as soon as I walked in front of it, it started tracking me. It was like a lost puppy, and it felt like it found its new owner. Essentially, I had to exit because the drone started thinking I was its owner and not Carl. Aerial cinematography has been utilized for years and years and years part of production. Any of your favorite classic films from like the 70s to the early 2000s utilized aerial cinematography. So let's say you have a film based in Manhattan or New York, you have that wide helicopter shot flying into the city. And the reason why that works so well is it's a great establishing shot to go into a scene. It's super duper vague, so basically you can use it for anything, whether it be a road trip, some sort of relationship drama, whether it's some guy robbing a bank. An aerial shot really establishes basically everything but nothing, and it's a super duper vague, almost blanket shot to kind of implement into any sort of story, whether it be comedy, romance, drama, horror, you name it, it works. And they're really, really helpful as an editor, because let's say I'm working on a scene and I need something to explain something, but I don't have the right coverage for it. A drone shot is actually a great little, like, we'll put this in here, and it works for pretty much anything. And that leads me into overusing the shot. Since drone shots are so effective for pretty much anything, and now with the technology that we have available to us, it is super easy to make everything look really cinematic. They've got a gimbal system in the front. The camera, once the camera's far enough away from anything, basically everything looks super duper crisp and HD, and it's just absolutely nuts where these cameras are going. But the one thing you have to keep in mind is overusing this as a tool. Now, a drone, like all other pieces to your filmmaking kit, is just a tool, and you have to remember that. You don't want to overuse it, because then it loses its impact. So for instance, I just edited this film called Algonquin. You guys can check it out, it's in the description below, but essentially it's just a film about camping, and so I needed a shot to kind of get us into the scene. So I utilized drone shots for two different purposes. One, I used it to enter my film, and I used it to exit my film. I didn't use it anywhere in between. I just wanted to bookend it. So that's a great way to kind of get into a space, establish something, and then dig into the meat and potatoes of the entire scene. So that's something to really keep in mind. Use it as like an intro or an outro, but in the middle, try and use as much of the other coverage that you have available to you, and almost use a drone shot as your last resort, because the last thing you want to do is people to get bored of such an epic shot like that. And trust me, it happens. The last thing I want to do is see drones get the slider syndrome. And what happened to sliders was essentially, they were the greatest shot ever. And I remember whenever like sliders became consumer level, I bought one. Every single videographer I knew bought one, and they were the greatest, craziest thing, because you were able to get a semi-dolly shot with something that cost like less than $1,000. And so basically everyone started putting them in their feature films, their short films, their independent productions, their music videos, and then they started putting them in their corporate videos, and they started going into wedding videos, and then they just started becoming overused, and then they started just losing their flavor. Like the slider or any other tool part of your kit, you want to use it to tell the story, and that is the biggest thing that you have to try and cater to. If your drone shot does not fit the story, if it doesn't help explain anything better, or it's not necessary, then don't use it part of your scene. Maybe your film doesn't require a drone. Maybe you can tell the story that you want to tell and have that impact to the audience at a ground level. And trust me, having ground level stuff is actually just as effective if you cut it and shoot it properly. So really think of what is the intention before going into any of your aerial cinematography, and basically any of your other cinematography. If the shot has no weight and no purpose, but it looks cool, then don't put it into your edit. Maybe shoot it and have it for something else, but if it doesn't help cater to the story, then it's not useful. So with that all in mind, it's time to answer the question, do you need one? Should you get one? And should you have them in your productions? And I think yes. I think drones are very useful. I think they can tell great stories, and they're a really great tool on your toolkit. But the two things to keep in mind are don't overuse it, so shoot what you need to use and don't go crazy and put it in your entire film, and make sure the shot has purpose to whatever your edit or whatever your story is trying to tell. And beyond that, aerial cinematography is very useful for a lot of things. You can get really creative with the footage that you're implementing into your edit, as well as it's super duper useful as an editor, utilizing that as like a source of B-roll if you need to. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this tutorial, want to check out some more, I recommend taking a look at the PremiumBeat YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe, and if you have any ideas for future episodes, or just had any questions regarding this one, write them in the comment section below. I'll give it a read, and I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. Okay, I'm Zach here, and I will see you guys in another video.